Hi, this is Evelyn Carney. This is my Pinterest. It's under Evelyn White. This is my first board here, CRA Representational Concrete and Abstract. I have many others, things that I like on there, but this is the one. If you push that tab, be able to go to it. It's right here. So this is what mine looks like. That's my face from a while back. So here we go. Here's some things that I thought were very interesting. Let's show some concrete representational facts here. Building fractions, decimals, percents, the magnetic board, anything to save paper. This is great to do when students start learning their fractions. For the abstract, learning about the equations, math problems, this is great. Solving word problems. Going through all of these lists helps the students know how to approach a problem, an equation, analyze it, and evaluate it. Tools for teaching word problems. Maybe it's a great site as well. Some of these sites I haven't had a chance to go to. Another one for abstract, conquer the problem. Plan, read and visualize, reading code, sketch. All of these sound great to do. And there's more on that link underneath there. So it looks like a lot of anchor charts underneath there to help the students refer to it. Stop, think, act is right here. Looks pretty good. But I have a few more of those, so I'm not going to copy that one because here's one more. Stages of problem solving. Like if you have 2 or 3, 4 different sets, you have to break them down and help the students write it out, which it doesn't say here, but when I was reading this, it was really encouraging on the fluency, building fluency. I don't mean to get off on this page, but that would be something that I would add to my anchor chart. So this gives me an idea to get started. We have representationals here. I have a 6, and you can put any number in there, and I do believe this are wipe-offs, laminated. You have a 6, you can put, 3 can go into 6, but what else adds with 3? And you can choose a number there. Those are done. There's another one that you can make up yourself. Here, you can number board matching. You have a number here, and you can do it yourself. You can make up any numbers. It'd be great to do your own, make up your own. And this chart looks good to have in your classroom. It has everything on there. Students can take their time and look at it. When you're doing your standards, you can go through here and look which ones do you need to cover. I would have to check it with the standards, make sure it's all there. Then there's some games for students who are struggling, but also students that are higher level learners that aren't finished with their work. They can go play games while the teacher's working with the students who are struggling. These games are neat right here, the dice games. I have viewed the videos, how to play Passage. The videos will pop up in a second. How to play Run for It. There's the video. And it's really short, and it just demonstrates it. And you can also play the video, I guess, for the students before they, when you're going through all your games, and show them how to play this one. And then you can probably make up a little instructions for it, so students can do. And so these games are really fun. I went through a lot of these. So they're adding points, but they're not all the same games. And there's more games that I had seen, and there's some online as well. Here's one. Websites. I'll never again teach math without. We're just supposed to teach this Galileo eliminations. Illuminations, which the NCTM, I've seen these, but I think you have to become a member to open a lot of those. The GeoGebra, Desmos.com, and Inquiry Math. A lot of those I have not seen, but the GeoGebra is an app you can get through, I think, uh, Google Docs. So, it's the site Math Giraffe. Um, let's go here to, these are something that's concrete as well as representational. Students are using these as like drawings or stick figures. They're using these little Legos, which I love Legos as well, because you can click and then you can separate, and then they're writing out, and there's also laminate, so students can always return to these and save paper. Um, great, great stuff. This is really a fun game for students who already have mastered division and subtract, division and multiplication. You could also probably use simple uh, problems like adding and subtracting, and you could probably do little dots or something that they could count. But they could do this for themselves as well, something to keep them thinking and practicing their math skills. These are great representational, but it's also concrete learning. Team numbers, math units, teaches them place value to tens and to ones. They can visually see it, physically touch it, move it around. This is great also just when you're doing bigger and smaller numbers, equal, less than, greater than. They can visually see what's greater than the other, and it helps them understand it a little better instead of just seeing symbols and numbers on a piece of paper. So all of these are great. Here's another one you can make up. This is also neat because you have a number 19. Then all the ones that add or subtract, you can put right there. And I think you can get these free and copy and then laminate yourself. Have them for your classroom. And some of this is like my third video. I don't know if I went through this one yet. This is neat. It's like the paper ones that I have on this board as well. But this one I found afterwards and I thought was great. You can make up your own instead of having one here. So you know it has to be 6. But then you build your own equation here. It could be 2 and 4 or something. So these are great ideas I'm catching here. I'm glad that I found all of these. This was a fraction. This is very neat representation and concrete. You get to fill in the pie. It's color coordinated, which is good, but it could be a little bit more challenging, it seems like, for the students. I like that. One of the first things that I did pin on here was this little chart. This is something you could buy at Joann's sewing shop. I thought it was really neat. It had disappeared. Okay, right here, comparing fractions chart. I had this as one of my home pages on my computer because I like looking at how it's divided up because it's very hard to see. So I remember the smaller fractions because I haven't practiced it as much. So there, and here's games you can play on there too. It's like you can add how this plus this equals that. Very neat. Because students don't think that way. If one fraction is different than another and another and another, how do you put them all together? This is the little pies and things. There's one with the stick that you do like a half a heart and a half of a block or something, and you put them together. And it shows how they're halves. Now I love this. Anything you can make your own uh, and then use it to help you with your math is a wonderful thing. So this right here, the abacus, is something I would like to do. Well, they could make numbers and put in different ways to represent that number. Um, and this is also another representation of a number as well as concrete, but they're making it up, so they're representing it. Another site for online games. This is 4th grade, so if you're a 3rd grade teacher, You could use this, send the students to that if they're challenged and they're done, master some things. This right here looked very fun. The Thrifty in thirdgrade.com. This shows how to know what big numbers are. I guess you're calling this out. I'm not sure. And I've lost that page. Oh, guided math. This is where this is the teacher that showed you how to plan a little centers for your students. She says the first group, the middle group, the kids are inconsistent with the objective. But they're on 100% sure. So she works with them first. Then she goes to the high flyers, and then when they get it, they get to do independent work. Now, once they have mastered it, after they check their work, she gives them enrichment activities. And then the last group she pulls is a struggling group. And these students need help. Also, by this time, the students in my first group still having hard time, they'll probably come to her for support. So she can add them to the last group. This is really, really, really neat. And these are some games that she'll help the students with, my guided math units for independent work. And you see the numbers here, and they're playing with the little objects. I can't really read exactly. Number and use counters to cover the number, rounding numbers. Yes, very good. So, and then here's some other things. I have saved this as well to my pen board. You can just save it easily that way. And this really breaks up the numbers, and you have to piece them together. Like 90 subtract something that equals 18. You have to. It's like a puzzle, and you have to put them all together. It's really neat too. So, I like this side. I liked the way she taught that little piece on helping students. So if you're doing your little group, you can work in there. She has different grade levels as well. I'm doing that. Okay, so back here, go back home. Those are some things that I've found. Anything more interesting? This one makes a butterfly. I like this. It's more practice work. They go through it and help them practice their numbers, filling them in. Game centers, polygon, tree. This is something I thought that maybe we could work on with smaller shapes. They can make their little tree of just shapes, shape tree, and build from there. This is a division design, so this is for a little bit higher grades. It's just working out the problems, but then they're putting pinpoints here on the graph, and this is something that middle schoolers will start using. So maybe third, fourth grades, fifth grade, I don't know. They could start doing this, and they're getting used to how you make a design on a graph. So that's really neat. Okay, and then shapes, papers and shapes. This is really neat because lines of symmetry shows more triangles in one triangle, triangle and a square and a polygon and a hexagon. So it shows the students different shapes, and they can do that themselves as well, create all of these things. So I think I've covered a lot. This is one, I don't know if I covered this one in this video. Hopefully it's the last video. I was looking for these in my last lesson plan. Montessori DIY math addition place values. This really helps students that are struggling, that need a different way to use their skills, their manipulative skills, their motor skills to solve things. They see things bigger, they can handle it better, and then they're able to retain the information better when they're able to do it this way with bigger things, the math and blocks. So I don't know if there's much more. There's a few other things here. I haven't went through all this, but I definitely will, because these are bigger constructed pieces that I think will help struggling students. And it helps any student, actually, that like to do that. But if they can do the other ones, definitely have all this available as well. So